Here's the first tip I learned in this project. Just throw the chain around the bush and loop it out on the ground. No use wasting time hooking it to the backhoe bucket. Just let the teeth pick it up and pull it. That's one of the themes today. We've got an expert driving the excavator, and we're here to learn. But first, let me catch you up on our story. We found out our furnace was broken on the day we moved into this house. We worked with several experts and finally decided to go with a geothermal system. Geothermal requires an underground loop. The loop is filled with some methanol-based solution, and there are a few choices for how you run that loop. The most economical choice, if you have the space, is the horizontal closed loop. So that's what we're doing here, attempting to dig a 500-foot trench to bury those methanol-filled lines. Now, our installer wanted to use a relatively large excavator, so we got a Case CX80C from our local Case dealer. While our loaner 37C could technically dig deep enough for this trench, Ryan explained that the additional reach would make the project much easier, keeping the weight of the machine a good distance from the walls of the trench. Ryan would typically take a 3 to 4 inch depth bite with each stroke. By the time he reached the full length of his stroke, the bucket would magically be full just to overflowing. Perfect.
That's it from there.
So they want to run these tubes under the crawl space. So they're working to get right under the foundation of the crawl space. It's going to run right in there. So there's a manifold here that basically takes all 3 circuits, 6 hoses total, 6 total loops, and converts them into one supply and return line. So brings all of them together. That's going to be right outside the wall here, and only 2 lines run inside. I'm enjoying watching here how Ryan is being careful not to hit this line. We actually got 2 lines here. We got a telephone line at the top. I'll probably never use the telephone line again. But below that we've got an electric line. Now, one thing I've always had difficulty with is when we do locate a line, I end up pulling my trench back to it and covering it again. He's been very careful to push that away each scoop. So now he's got just about as close as he can get. I think it's down to hand digging.
Put my muck boots on now.
So now you can see the electric right down there.
I loved Ryan's wise quote about this. He said, "I'd rather spend an hour patiently finding and working around these lines than 3 or 4 hours fixing it later."
We're going to have a significant problem with water in the trench. You can see it's just running in all along there. We're not going to be able to leave the trench open very long at all.
I didn't time it, but I would estimate that we did spend at least 45 minutes, maybe an hour, doing this first 30-40 feet here from the house, working around that electrical wire and working close to the house. Here's another tip I noticed. Every so often, Ryan would scrape the crumbs off the edge of the trench wall and just push them back into the trench and pick them up, get them out of there. Ryan, you need to get you one of these.
I might. Nice machine.
They've got to get 6 rolls total down in the trench here. They've got 3 here. You probably can't see them all. And they're working on the second batch of 3 back there. They've got 3 different colors of duct tape. Each of these rolls is 500 feet long. So the loop is going to be a 1,000-foot loop. The 2 orange lines will connect at the far end. The 2 blue lines will connect at the far end, and the 2 pink lines will connect at the far end.
Hey Ryan, that doesn't look 5 foot deep to me.
No, we're having cave-in problems. Saturated soil. Not going to be able to do a horizontal loop in this area. I think between the kind of a low area here and 2 months of rain, there's no way to make this a safe trench. So
Yeah, so when you dug that out, I mean, it stayed there for a few minutes, and then the longer we sat here, the walls just started
it's
falling in.
Been sitting there 20 minutes, and it's half filled itself in.
So what kind of options do we have?
Well, on these, the way I think we're going to go is horizontal bores, because nobody has to be in a trench to do those. They can shoot the rods, pull the pipe back in the ground, and there's nobody in here. There's nothing to cave in. Your other option in the right situation, you could do vertical wells. It's expensive. For the most part, it's about twice what the horizontal bore is.
Okay.
So there's room out here to do a horizontal, so there's no reason to spend the extra money on a vertical.
So we'll have a boring machine come out then and
Yep.
and just make horizontal bores, and it'll start somewhere here.
Yeah, we're gonna head her right in this area here by the corner, and we'll shoot 200-foot bores, be times 4 for a 4-ton unit. Kind of daylight them out in the woods, pull back.
Okay.
And have a working loop.
Okay. But you know what that means for me? No furnace for another, well, few days at least.
Yeah, no. Gotta wait on the bore guy now.
You know, the situation doesn't always work perfect, guys. Sometimes you have complications that you don't expect. We're going to show it to you like it is.
Yep. They're not all perfect.
These lines here are not useful for the bore. They have to use totally different lines. This is quite unfortunate, actually. He's bought these lines and can't use them. Obviously can't return them. So it's not good for anybody on this unfortunate result.
You can see here where there's a lot of water in the trench. We've decided that the land here, it's got good topsoil, but then underneath that is clay mixed with sand, and it just has a lot of water in it. Plus, it's been a very wet fall and early winter. It's rained, it's snowed, the snow is melted, so everything is just really soggy. So now they're going to fill this in. So far all we have to show is the big mess. They're going to start backfilling here in a minute since we can't use this trench. We were able to get a private locator out to find the secondary electric line that went to our shed. So that's a good thing. We know where that wire is now. Tim's been helping them with Johnny put some of the stuff away. Guys, this is just part of our story. This is what happens. It doesn't always work out the way you think it will. Tim's patching up some of the ground where they brought the 80 back here. We tried digging a hole back here to see if it was as wet as it was up closer to the house, and it wasn't as wet, but it still was wet, so the decision was made to go with the boring. And this will be okay. It's just grass. No big deal. Boys and their toys.
Yeah, Ryan is as smooth as can be with that Case CX80C. But when it comes to picking up the last of those crumbs without damaging the grass, well, it's pretty hard to beat Johnny's soft touch. I learned from my dad on the farm that a variety of machines, even with significantly different capabilities, can often work together to get the project done faster. And this is a perfect example. The excavator does the heavy lifting, and Johnny comes along and does the cleanup work.
I don't think it's all bad. They're going to use part of this anyway, so they're going to leave it open. There's stuff they have to put in the ground out here, and the boring unit apparently can start from here. So we'll see that in a future video, perhaps. You can hear the water splash. And you can see how muddy it is. I guess the good part is now at least there's not a lot of the yard dug up where we'd have to replant the grass.
Okay, I hate to brag, but that looks pretty good to me, especially without the edge tamers.
Johnny's actually done a good job of helping clean up the muck and mud. That's still a lot of dirt on top. Okay, so he said he was going to make a header pit. He was going to fill it in about 3 feet deep. I think that's for the guys who are going to come out and do the boring. So Ryan said there's only been one other time where he hasn't been able to dig for a geothermal system, and that was because they hit rock. Yeah, he's just gonna go right over the trench. He's packing it down. Yeah, look at that. It's just making it. Oh boy, we got a lot of water in there.
Well, Ryan, you were supposed to dig 500 foot for me, and you got here about 50 foot. I hope it wasn't because you didn't like the CX80.
It wasn't the machine. It's all about the ground. It's,
yeah.
Unfortunately, with the rain we've had, and I think we're in a kind of a low area, it was just a way too wet of a ditch. You got to keep people safe, and with the way that we do the loop, where we use the walls as part of the loop itself, there was nothing there to pin to keep the pipes in place. It was just going to be a mess, and there's just a lot of factors that everything was going against us on this one.
Yeah.
So plan is to come back. We're going to have the bore machine do horizontal bores, 200 foot. Nobody's in the ditch. Nobody's drowning.
Yeah.
Getting caved in on or
That'll
anything
work.
else. So
That'll work. You know, for us, it's another week without a furnace, but you know what? It'll be a good solution.
Yeah.
That way.
It's in the long run. It's when everything's behind you, it'll be.
Thing is, I like to see things dig.
Yeah.
You know, guys, it's that's what we want to do. But really, this is the right solution. I think we've talked before about the pond and how low-lying this whole area is. We're kind of in a bowl here. We seem to get all the water from several acres. Seems to just kind of fall in on us, and that's going to bite us with this situation. Ryan, I really appreciate you coming out.
Sure.
And appreciate you giving Big Casey here a try.
Yeah. No, it's a nice machine.
You got to get you one.
It may be on the Christmas list.
We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.
Oh, look at the water come now. Oh boy.